Today we're going to talk about the steps that you should take before starting a website project and how doing a few of these things can really help your website project go smoother. It'll make it easier, it'll make it faster, and then it will also result in a site that gets more leads, gets more clients, and that's what you want it to do. That's the end result. If you don't know who I am, my name is Allie. I'm a brand stylist and a website designer, and I work with women's service providers to help them present themselves online in a way that actually gets their dream clients. I'm big on strategy, big on creating brands and websites that do the work for you so that you can actually get to the thing that you love. These things that I'm going to talk about today will apply whether you are designing a website for the first time or if you are doing a redesign. Maybe you had a website already, it's not working as effectively as you want, so you're starting to think about what you need to do to make it better. One thing that I've learned recently, my husband and I are working on a bathroom project in our rooms, en-suite bathroom, and we spent an immense time on the pre-work, drawing it all out, mapping out, we reconfigured everything. It took a lot of time to do that. But one thing I learned was how crucial it was to actually have that pre-work done. And when we did that, it made the actual project go pretty smoothly because we'd have made a lot of the decisions already. Same thing goes for a website. It's just as important, some of that pre-work that you do. It gives you a roadmap for moving forward. Let's dive into a few things that I think you should do before you start a website project. Number one is to establish your brand. And this is a little bit of a bigger thing to take care of beforehand, but it is so worth it. When I say brand, I'm not talking about your logo. Branding is a bigger thing than that. It's really important to helping you stand out as a business, to designating yourself as an expert in your field, to making you stand out. It builds loyalty, like a community of followers who rally around you, and it helps people recognize you from afar. So they're scrolling through social media and they see your stuff and they're able to know who it is even before they see the name. So I definitely recommend that branding be a priority before you get started on your website. I talk about the 3 pillars of branding a lot. Basically, the 3 pillars are number 1, your target market. So knowing who you are best suited and most excited to serve. If you're trying to market to everyone, you're marketing to nobody. That's just a fact. And any marketer will tell you that. So you need to understand who that target market is and what they need from you and what their problems are. That's pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is your message. What is it about you that is different? What are the values that you have in your business? What makes you stand out? Number 3 is the aesthetics. Aesthetics are a very crucial part of your brand, but you want to make sure you're making aesthetic choices based on pillar 1 and number 2. You want it to be appealing to your target market. You want to make sure your aesthetics are sending that message that you want to send. For instance, I talk a lot about color psychology. You want to make sure your colors are sending the right message and not contradicting what you're trying to say. Those are the 3 pillars of branding that I recommend you do a little work on beforehand. Number 2 is decide your website's goals. I know the obvious thing here is I want people to book with me, right? But a lot of times when people come to your site for the first time, they're not ready to make that commitment or take that big step. They're still just figuring out who you are. So you want to have some intermediary steps there, intermediary goals to lead them to so that they will actually stay in your world. Instead of just book a call, also make sure there's some smaller steps that they can take, such as offering a freebie for them to join your email list. Or maybe you have a blog that you want to guide people through, or you want them to subscribe to your podcast. Whatever that is, those are things that you want to make sure are front and center, and that all paths in your site lead to these goals. And it's important to know these things in advance before you begin the project because you're going to build the entire structure of your site around them, right? Think about those things, get strategic, really think about what applies well to your business and where you are. And if you know them already, let me know in the comments. Drop a couple goals that you have that you want your website visitors to do when they visit your website. Number 3 is to write your copy. And a lot of people do this backwards. They get a template on a drag and drop site, and then they try to write their text into the boxes. And this is like putting yourself in a box where you're stuck to this certain size. You can only say certain things in a certain place, and it really can hamper your creativity and your ability to write well and say what you need to say on your site. So get out a Word document and spend some time just writing out page by page what you want the copy to say. And make sure you're thinking about your messaging, that you're communicating to your visitor, that you're talking to your target market. Here's the thing. Copy is one of the most crucial parts of your website. And it's because it is actually the messaging and the words that you are speaking to your ideal client. It needs to be done in a way that isn't just your average copywriting. If copy is not your gifting, then I do recommend you hire it out. And it's actually, before I was a designer, I was a copywriter. So it's something that I include as an add-on in my project. So all of my website clients have the option of having me write their copy for them. If that's something that is not a skill that you have at all, then I recommend it. Number 4 is to pick your platform. So now that you have all those other things done, you have to decide where your website is going to live, what software you're going to use. It used to be you had to hire a developer to do this for you, and they would custom code something out of ones and zeros. And it was a much more difficult process. But now we have so many platforms available, and everyone has an opinion, right, about what one's the best. A lot of the website designers will tell you that WordPress is the only option. I disagree. I think that WordPress is an amazing platform. It's very powerful. It is not for everyone. It has a steep learning curve. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into it. You're on your own as far as support. So if you are not techie, or this is not something you want to spend a lot of time learning, there are a lot of other drag and drop sites that would be easier for you. Pick the platform that is good for you right now. Obviously, you want some room to grow. You don't want it to limit you, but in 5 to 7 years, if your business scales and you can redesign your site on a different platform, that is fine. So you don't need to put so much pressure on yourself to make the perfect decision. Just find something that works for your brain. That's something I always talk with people who come to me and looking for a site. We'll talk through which kind of tech ability, what are your goals with your site, and then I can usually point you to the right platform that is a good fit. If you are brand new to business, then I would say just go get a drag and drop site. Pick a template and do the best that you can. And if you go that route, I do have website audits available. I can sit down with you and look through your site, go over it, and find ways that we can make it even better. If you can't hire a designer to design something for thousands of dollars, but you could get a professional's eyes on your site and make sure that it's working for you. If you invest in time in putting together a website, you want it to work for you. You want it to actually get results. So put audit in the comments if that's something that would be useful for you. If you've been in business for a couple of years though, and you have some clients under your belt, your business is rolling, at that point, I think it is worth it to hire a designer, because the expert is going to know so many of the little things that you might not understand about user interface and user experience and all of those things. I just posted a couple of days ago about how my husband had told me on Saturday, he's like, why don't you go get a spa treatment for Mother's Day? And so I'm like, okay, that sounds fun. So I looked up a bunch of places in my area and I found one that was like the perfect fit. I was like, this is where I want to go. They have what I need. They're in the price range I want, but I couldn't find the hours. So I'm looking around on their site, I'm looking at their Google listing. I'm like, I don't even know if they're available this weekend. So I went somewhere else, and that's all it took. And so there's a million things like a lot of people don't even think to notice. And a lot of us get blind spots in our own businesses as well. So people are fickle. They move on very quickly, and it can be really easy to lose them if things aren't built correctly. That's why I think it is good to hire an expert. You want to make sure though, whoever you hire has an eye for strategy, like that is a priority for them, making sure that they're not just someone who's going to be like, I'm going to build you a pretty site and call it good, but who'll actually think through the strategy with you, that will actually map things out and give you something that works. So it is something that is a big priority for me that I always spend a lot of time with on my clients, is their goals and making sure the website meets those goals. So if you are ready to take that step, if you're like, okay, that's me, ready to dive on a full project, get my site up and rolling, go ahead and put call in the comments and we can book a call and talk about which one of my packages would be a good fit for you. So I would love to help your business grow in that way, and hope you all are having a wonderful week. I'll see you next week.